as you can see, I absolutely love colors. This is oil pastel work, and I find myself delving into one single palette at the time, right? It originated from this piece. As you can see, I tried the same palette on this painting, right? But no matter how hard I tried, I just didn't feel like this landed. It's so close, right? And I just couldn't figure out for the life of me what went wrong. What I've learned is that this palette suits warmth better than coldness. This is cold all the way through. Whereas here, I've started to introduce some warmth in my paintings. And for this skin-ish, pink-ish vibe, I've learned that that is definitely the way to go. Like going even colder on this. It didn't fit. You saw the birdie, right? It just didn't flow. I am still using purple shadows. Whereas here, I'm using brown shadows. These are shadows with some oranges in them, right? And you see the same thing here. So I've got some warmth flowing in through the painting. And what I've realized is, whilst making paintings for this exhibition, right? I've basically danced in a super cold palette the whole way. I haven't bridged any warmth into my palette. And it's not until now where I start to realize how much you can play with warmth and cold contrasts as well in paintings, right? I've danced in landscapes of color that are magical, and I've created huge contrast in the paintings, right? But since I haven't played with light and, no, not light and shadow, because I have that definitely, warmth and colds, I haven't taken the paintings to the level they can be. Well, I took them to the level they could be when I made them, right? That was my level at the time. But obviously, we're always evolving. And since I absolutely love colors, I love delving into like what color combination works, what doesn't, why does it work, why doesn't it work, right? This pink-ish, it's like piglet pink, right? Works because you have the contrasting turquoise. These are almost complementary colors, almost. The same here and the same with the flamingo over here. They're almost complementary colors, and that's something I've played with a lot in the exhibition as well. Complementary colors is basically a cheat code to get anything to look good, right? If you just play with two colors and dance in the value range within those colors, value and chroma, you can do a lot. I've also found that even though I make corny ass things, less is definitely more, and not necessarily less in terms of objects flying around, but less in terms of colors, right? You don't have to have the whole rainbow in every painting. What I've also started to do, and I started that on this thing, is you see this outline. And you see me almost treating this creature as a sticker. I absolutely love that. I've taken that even a step further here, where I've sort of done it a couple of places, right? So you create this added depth without actually having depth in the painting. I've done the same thing here, right? Oh, it's so fucking cool. Where you see me adding just tiny hunches of deeper blues in order to create this boom feeling, or more like poof. It feels like it goes into the painting, right? I'm also, I don't know if it's visible on cam or not, but here I'm basically playing with a lot of deep, both purples, you see that here, but to neutralize some of this color, I am intentionally using, especially here and here, I am intentionally using dead colors as well, and dead colors are basically gray, right? So you have this upper region where I've used a purplish gray, and then I've neutralized that in the more highlighted areas with a bluish gray. And that's basically taken from my realism period, where I remember that a lot of the skin is basically, it looks dead. So if you want actual skin color, you can't use color with a lot of chroma. It can definitely look like a face, but it won't look realistic. It won't look photoreal. So I'm basically neutralizing and playing with this sort of, it looks a bit like skin, but I've also pushed the reds or the reddish pinks too far, right? So we're more expressionistic, most definitely, but I'm still like, it still looks ish like skin, and I wanted that effect. Here I also wanted to fuck with the sun. To conclude, what I've found is that you have to bridge warm and cold colors in order to, you don't have to, because I've made countless paintings where I haven't done that, but it's definitely an option, right? If you want to explore more and create more drama, create more depth, create more tension in the painting, a combination between light and shadow whilst also playing with warm and cold colors is definitely a cheat code. I know the Impressionists did that as well. When painting, they stacked warm colors against cold colors, and at a distance, it looks vibrant. Up close, it can look like a mess. I feel like you can see sort of the evolution of me finding new colors, right? Whereas this one feels more poppy. This doesn't pop as much, especially the face and this, but it's done. Do not fuck with things that are done. Kill your darlings, right? It's a part of the journey. And I loved it when I made it. I still love it. But now I'm more drawn to this, right? Because it's warmer, because I'm warmer. Color is basically psychology. I've also noticed what I tried here is essentially, I know that a cheat code to make colors pop more is definitely to combine grays within the painting. The more neutral colors you have in a painting, the more the colors that pop will actually pop. But I found this quite boring. And if I'm not inspired, then what am I doing, you know? So I found that even though these color waves aren't necessarily, I'm not building landscapes that go kilometers inwards into the paintings. I want to be able to do that at some point, but if it involves me boring myself to death, then I'll wait. I'll definitely wait. Now, it just happened, to be honest. I did not plan to make this YouTube video. I just got inspired and I made it right away. So that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Until further notice, take care.